Good evening and welcome to the 6th round of the Formula Racing League F2 Championship. We are at the Autódromo Hermanos Rodriguez in Mexico City in Mexico. Well, you have just joined us from the previous stream we had about 10 or so minutes ago. We do apologise, but thankfully we're back underway here. You haven't missed anything. So we're raring to go for one-shot qualifying, and after that one will be a 20-lap feature race and then a 14-lap sprint race to wrap up the evening. So we begin with qualifying. Let's go for a lap with Don Arjun. Let's say with him. Around turn 17, the last turn. There are 17 corners on this track. The Autódromo Hermanos Rodriguez, the highest out of all the circuits above sea level. Arjun steadily making his way through turns 1, 2 and 3 in the high-tech. Now Arjun coming through turn 6. And this is obviously the trickiest part of the racetrack. Turn 7, 8, 9, 10 and 11. Arjun seems to take that very, very well. Does he? No, he doesn't. Lap time invalidated. May as well come away from him. We'll go to Winfield as he's making his way through turn 12 right now. So Winfield entering the last corner then. And he goes up to 5th place on the grid, but the man on pole is Guys in the other high-tech. So he gets the 4 championship points for qualifying there. There were a lot of drivers that didn't quite complete their laps, so I'll have a rundown on where they line up for the grid. So Guys is on pole ahead of Green Pies in 2nd place. It's Zach 3rd, Robin 4th ahead of Winfield and Jay Hartnell. Carlos Killer and Podge make up row 4 ahead of Wild Dog and Statistic King. Scott and Matty line up next to each other on row 6 ahead of Vintage and Swanshanks. Then it's Pimis and Scouse Cookie on row 8, Lucifer Shahid and Lovable Fan on row 9, and Arjun and Leppy make up the rear of the grid. So that was the one-shot qualifying. The 20-lap feature race is coming up next. But it's certainly a whole lot hotter than it was in qualifying. So a feature race to see the drivers having to make a mandatory pit stop. They can take that pit stop from lap 3. But if they come in to the pits at the end of lap 1 or 2, it will not count as their mandatory pit stop. With all the dramas that we had in Australia, with the safety cars and all the incidents, we could be in for another interesting round here today. So they all go off on their formation lap. So let's see who's starting on what. Everyone is starting on the soft compound. That's the harder of the 2 compounds. It's the super soft and the softs here in Mexico. So all the drivers will be going on the longer first stint. 20 drivers in tonight. That's the highest number of drivers we've had on an F2 grid in the FRL in a very, very long time. This is probably the biggest we've had. There's Statistic King in the Trident. It's a long time since we've seen a Trident involved. So in regards to the championship leader, John Argent, has a good opportunity to open up a margin over Rosie and Green Pies. He's starting at the back of the field, though, so he's going to need to make his way quite quickly. Make his way through quite quickly, I should say. Green Pies has been in good form recently. 2 sprint race victories in a row. Can he make it 3 tonight? He's starting from second place on the grid in the feature. The top 8 finishers get reversed for the sprint race later. In the meantime, there are plenty of points up for grabs in this feature race with guys on pole position. Will he be able to convert that into the victory later? We'll have to wait and see. So guys coming through to take up his position on pole. And then it's Green Pies and Zach. Robin, somewhere very well to get up into 4th place, although having said that, only 10 drivers cross over the line to set a time in one shot. So who will lead down into the first corner? It's a long way down, so there's going to be plenty of drivers going side by side. The first right-hander. So everyone is in position then by the looks of things, and we are raring to go here at the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez. The 5 red lights come on in front of the drivers. Guys on the right, Green Pies on the left. It's lights out and away we go, and guys gets off the line very, very well, as does Green Pies, who stays in front of the Prema of Zach, who's under threat from the Cambos of Robin behind, and also the ART of Carlos Killer right behind him. Now they're all going to make their way down to turn 1. Guys just stays ahead, but Green Pies is right round the outside into the first corner they go, and Green Pies takes the lead in the dams ahead of guys in second place, and now they go through turns 2 and 3. There's a bit of contact there behind, hence why we've got the yellow flag. So Green Pies remains in the league with guys in second place. Then it's the 2 Premas of Zach and Winfield next behind, with Jay Hartnell and Podge, Robin, Carlos, who then gets overtaken by Robin actually. Wild Dog and Statistic King round out your top 10 so far. So guys right behind the dams as they go through turn 6. So they all make their way through there. Is there any other battling going on? There's Jay Hartnell losing the position to Podge by the looks of things. Podge gets through on the inside of turns 8. It might have been 9 actually, but Podge is through anyway. And now we watch Wild Dog and Carlos go side by side as they head towards turn 12. There's a yellow flag. I'm not sure who that is for. It's cleared away quickly anyway. Robin diving to the inside of the HWA of Jay Hartnell. Contact made, and Hartnell nearly went into the wall on the exit of turn 16. Now through another right-hander of 17 to complete the first lap. Here are the leaders, look though. Green Pies and guys going side by side as they go through into the first turn together. And guys takes the lead back from Green Pies as the second lap commences, and that's Matty into the pits. He's also been penalised for speeding in the pit lane. That won't count as his mandatory pit stop. He'll be back in the pits again before this race is over. So Green Pies looking to get back in front of guys here. Wild Dog losing, or he's gained a couple of positions actually over Carlos and Robin. And now Zach getting good acceleration coming out of turn 6, and he goes past the dams of Green Pies into second place. And this is why actually Green Pies' car is controlled by the AI, so he's got his work cut out to get back in control of that machine. Don Argent from the back of the field from 19th to 7th already in the high-tech. Sunshine's getting a penalty for track limits. I expect there to be quite a number of penalties being dished out as Winfield goes past Green Pies into third place. So guys, ends lap 2, still in the race lead. DRS has been enabled now. We are on lap 3. Green Pies has rejoined the lobby, so he should take back control of his dams very, very shortly. So Swanchunks has got damage to his front wing actually in the Cheroos. Carlos going wide there, as does Pimis, who's side by side actually with the Cheroos. But remarkably, Swanchunks was able to get past. Now Statisticking in the Trident, fancying a go on the UNI Virtuosi into turn 4. Contact made. Statisticking still trying to make his way through, but can't do so at the moment. So Jay Hartnell in 7th place has just been overtaken by Argent. And Matty back in the pits to see, has he gone for a spin there? Look, he's back in the pits. And I think that could be his race over, to be honest with you. And it is his race over. And we've got a virtual safety car now because someone else has gone off. It's Wild Dog. So Wild Dog's front wing has gone. Now, even though we're on lap 3, you cannot take your mandatory pit stop under the virtual safety car, but you can under a full safety car. Scott gets a penalty as well for ignoring the yellow flag. And Archie coming into the pits. I wonder if he's got damage to his high tech. Now this will not count as his mandatory pit stop, so he will be back in the pits before this race is over. Wild Dog enters the pits. And Wild Dog retires from the feature race as well, so he goes no further. So still on the VSC conditions at the moment as Argent rejoins the race in what is now 18th and last. We're back on the way here in Mexico City. So guys, in the lead with Zach in 2nd place, Winfield 3rd. Green Pies in 4th place in the dams. It's Podge having a good race so far in 5th in the Carlin. And it's Hartnell in 6th place as Podge gets a penalty for track limits. Now track limit penalties get applied at the end of the race, not in pit stops. Now that is a worst driver's nightmare when they get a penalty that they know cannot be served at a pit stop. Now with Argent on the super soft tyre, we expect him to go rather quick. On the stint, he's 10 seconds behind Lucifer. As Leppy gets past Scott. Rowing open on Robin's car as Argent gets a penalty now for track limits. Robin to the inside, can't go through that. Is there any other battles going on? Scouts Cookie thinking about a move on Statisticking, but he stays behind. And Hartnell's gone for a spin somewhere. Not sure how he's managed to do that. But he's gone off the track, as is Pimis. So Pimis goes for a little lawn mowing. And Jay Hartnell, you can see his front wing, part of his front wing's missing there. Look, you can clearly see that'll be him into the pits. And Guys has just been penalised for track limits now. He's got nearly a 3-second lead over Zach in 2nd place. There's a long way to go yet in this race though. So Argent, you can see there in 18th as Guys posts a new fastest out, 1 minute 27.0. Rearing open on Green Pies' car. Is this enough for him to get through here? Hartnell continues to go backwards, hence why there's a yellow flag. So Green Pies to the inside. Can't quite make the move stick and waits behind. Robin into the pits for Campos. I would think that's going to be for a change of nose cone. So guys, continuing to lead at the moment. Doesn't need to worry about cars behind him, he just needs to focus on what's going on ahead of him. So looking at the penalties at the moment so far, Plymouth has a 5-second time penalty, which could potentially be taken at his next pit stop. Unless it was a corner cutting penalty, then he won't be able to. And Don Argent continuing to get penalised now. That's another 3-second penalty for him. He's a second behind Shahid here. So they both go through the stadium section. And this should be a straightforward manoeuvre there for Argent. He's on the better tyres than the Enfield Motorsport car is. And Scott comes into the pits. I wonder if some drivers may be thinking about pitting twice in this one. You can gain an awful amount of time over the course of a single lap. And someone else is in the... Oh, it's Scott, who's just retired, so that's the third driver to leave this race. So we're on lap 7 out of 20. Guys' lead is now 3.5 seconds over Zach. Green Pies is another 6 seconds behind. As it stands with Guys' penalty, he would still win the race, but only just. So that's another lap done there for the high-tech driver. Liverpool fan moving ahead of Statistic King into 9th position. So they get a penalty now for track limits, as Don Argent continues to set the pace. Now the top 15 score points in the Formula Racing League, whether it's a feature race or a sprint race. Top 15 finishes, that is. So I think for Don Argent at the moment, it's just about how many points can he pick up from this one. Goes Cookie being penalised for track limits as well now. And Jay Hartnell's retired from the race. Now, I'm not sure how he's managed to do that. We've got a safety car. So Jay Hartnell's crash has deployed the safety car. And I think that's good news for those at the back of the field. Now, what will the leaders decide to do? Because we've not yet reached half distance in this one. And I would think that a lot of them may decide to just come into the pits anyway, because they've got to use both dry compounds in a feature race. And Guy is getting a penalty for speeding, so that he didn't need that at all, if I'm honest with you. It was going to remain in the lead anyway. So who's deciding to stay out? So no one yet at the moment. So there's Podge with that front wing damage. He'll most certainly be wanting to come in. So Carlos remaining out there. But Guys gets out ahead of him by the looks of it. He does so. So Carlos will not be able to get through ahead of him. You need to stay behind him, mate. You need to stay behind him. So Zach rejoins in 3rd place. Green Pies rejoins in 6th. And Winfield will rejoin in P7. Now, what tyres will Don Argent go on to? It's the soft compound, which is no surprise. He's been on the softs already. So he may have a pace disadvantage on the restart, but towards the end, he'll be on the better rubber. So 3 drivers have yet to pit in this race now. Carlos, Liverpool fan, and Scouse Cookie. So we're on lap 9, 12 laps remaining. And Guys looks to be on his way to a victory. His first victory in F2 in the Formula Racing League. And Liverpool fan deciding to come into the pits to get the super soft compound put on. The other 2 who are still yet to pit remain out there. At least there's no one else in the pit lane which Liverpool fan needs to worry about, so he shouldn't need to be waiting. And out he goes. It's going to drop quite a way back, actually. Maybe get out in front of Arjun, you know. No, he doesn't. No, he rejoins behind him. So he's down to 14th place now as Liverpool fan. So it's a chance for Lepi and Lucifer Shahid to catch up here. Where we are under safety car conditions on lap 10. It's a very short lap, is this Aldo Hamas Rodriguez. .3 kilometres. Didn't feature on the Formula 1 calendar. Well, it did to begin with before the pandemic intervened, but didn't ultimately end up staging its Grand Prix in 2020. It is still scheduled to be hosting a Formula 1 race at the end of October at the timing of recording. The safety car not going into the pitch yet. This may prompt Carlos and Scouse Cookie to be coming in for a tyre change here. Carlos decides to stay out there though, as does Scouse Cookie, so they have to pit for the super sauce before this race is over. And someone else has gone back in. Is that Robin who's into the pits? It is. I think he's serving some of his penalty, actually. So we've been the 3rd lap onto the safety car. The safety car will be coming in at the end of this one. Robin rejoins on another set of the super soft compound. And he'll rejoin at the back in 16th. So the driver with the fastest up of the race so far is Don Argent, but he's currently in 12th, so as it stands he would not take the point for fastest up, or the couple of points for the fastest up. He's just left the session, so there's a slight disconnection of him, so I hope to see him back in before the race gets back on the way again. This is going to be tricky for the field, although having said that, with less fuel on board towards the end of the race means less load needed to be put into the tyres. So the safety car comes in. Well, it will be coming in at the end of this lap. Robin's not too far off the pack anyway, so he will catch them up before they do go full speed. So guys, slowing the field down, and he'll go when he's ready to do so. Here we go then, for the final 9 laps of this race. So guys leads ahead of Carlos, who is yet to pit. So we're back on the way here in Mexico City. And Green Pie's looking to make a move here on Scouse Cookie to go up into 4th place here before they get to turn 1. And he goes through there, look, as does the Premier of Winfield, who should get through, and he does so. So that's him up to what is 5th place, or so we thought, because Scouse Cookie's still there. Carlos losing out here to Zach in the fight for 2nd place here, lets him through. Scouse goes wide onto the curbs. Him is not able to get through there, and there's Swanshanks and Podge fighting over 8th. And someone else has gone for a spin. It's Leppy. No one else involved. He drops to the back. So there's Guys. Still leading at the moment. It's going to be a lot of fast as that changes. Now that these guys are on the fresher rubber. And if we do get another safety car period, that will come at a good time for Carlos, actually. Green Pie's being penalised now for track limits. Winfield moving ahead of Carlos now for 5th place as Scouse Cookie enters the pits. But he's got penalised for, well, he's been penalised for speeding in the pit lane. So Winfield moving in front of Carlos now for 4th place. Pimis looking to get through as well. There's no DRS for the first 2 laps of the restart. So Pimis going to the inside of the ART, but there's not enough room for 2 cars to go through together. So just one driver yet to pit in this race now. That is Carlos, who's dropping back like a stone a little bit here. As Pimis goes to the outside into turn 7 to put himself up into 5th. Carlos is struggling with grip at the moment. And no wonder. Swanshanks looks to get through here. Doesn't quite do so. They're statisticking on the inside of the dams of Vintage. John Argent's back in the lobby now, so he should take control of his high-tech. Contact made there between Podge and Swanshanks as they go through turn 16. And Carlos enters the pits. And he'll fall to the back of the field for sure. Which leaves a drag race down to turn 1 here between Podge and Swanshanks. DRS has been enabled now. But there's Vintage going right round the outside of the pair of them here, and he goes through. Very nice move there from Vintage in the dams. Pimis gets a time penalty for chat limits as well, so that's another 3 seconds to his time. Fighting with Winfield at the moment over 4th position. Swanshank's going off the track there in the Cheroos. Makes no contact with anyone. So there's Guys who is on the super softs. Zach not too far behind him. As it stands with the penalties, we're just waiting for the leaderboard to update the gaps as Pimis goes to the inside of Winfield into turn 12, and that's him moving up into 4th position. We've got a yellow flag because Liverpool fan has just gone for a spin somewhere and he's got damage to his front wing. So looking at the penalties now as we watch Winfield make a move back on Pimis for 4th position. Side by side they go, look. And it'll be Winfield getting ahead. So as it stands, Guys would not take the victory here as Liverpool fan pulls into the pits and out of the race. Green Price has left the session as well. He's disconnected also, so he'll be hoping to get back in time. So as it stands, with the penalties applying, guys would still... Well, no, he wouldn't win the race. It would be Zach taking the victory. And Carlos into the pits for a new front wing as well. So his race already ruined by this point now. Second visit into the pits for him. Green Pie is back in the lobby now as well. So we've got 5 laps to go at the end of this one. Guys, his lead is 1.3 on the road, but his penalty is 5 seconds more than Zach, and now he's coming into the pits for a fresh set of tyres and to get rid of the 5 seconds actually for speeding in the pits earlier on. So Zach takes the lead of this feature race as Pimis also enters the pits, Winfield likewise as well. So it looks so quite a few drivers thinking that they're not going to make it to the end on the old super softs that they're on. They do lose quite a bit of grip after around about 5 or 6 laps or so, and we've got 5 laps remaining here. Robin making a move on the Trident of Statistic King. He goes to the outside, and he's through into what is now 4th place. And Scouse Cookie in 14th. I'm not sure if he's going to get ahead of the drivers who's coming out of the pits there. He is going at full speed, although Winfield is going to remain in front here as they get into turn 1. Winfield runs wide though, and the Campos goes past. So Winfield dropping to 14th. Guys rejoins in 11th. At least it's on fresher rubber now though. It'll be an interesting last 5 laps for him. He could even get onto reverse grip hold for the sprint race later. John Argent getting another penalty for him. That's 9 seconds now. And Shahid runs wide there. Oh, and someone's in the wall there. That's Argent in the high tech. Front wing damaged. Hits the wall again for good measure. I think this is going to be a retirement for him in this one. And Green Pie's into the pits. I think that'll be done by the AI actually. So Don Argent enters the pits as Podge goes side by side with Statistic King now for 4th position. Robin moves up to 3rd in the race. And with Zach far out in the lead at the moment, as it stands, he would take the victory even with the penalty applied. And Sector 1, there's another incident. I'm not sure what's happened. Podge is down to 7th place now. And there's guys right behind the Cheroos of Leppy in the battle over 8th. As it stands, Leppy will be on reverse grip pole unless Guys has a say on that. Zach continuing to extend his lead at the front. 15 seconds it is now as we watch Guys make a move on Leppy for 8th place here. Rear wing open. There is a DRS zone here. Guys making good use of it. Into turn 12 they go. And Guys is through into the top 8. And Carlos is out of the race. He's back in the pits. And he decides that that is enough. And Shahid moving in front of Statistic King now with DRS. Swanshank's looking to get through on the pair of him. Wow, what a move. It was almost like they weren't even there. And Swanshank goes for a spin though. Does he keep out of the way of the other drivers? Yes, he does. So Swanshanks falls down to 7th place then. Shahid looking to get through on Statistic King as they go into turn 4 here. But doesn't do so from there. So Zach on his own right now. Now, the only driver not with a penalty at all in this race is Vintage. He's 17 seconds off the lead now. And Robin looks to get into 2nd place on the road at least. He's got a 6-second time penalty, so he needs to get a move on here. to the outside he goes, and he's through into second position. Can he pull away from the Dams? We're on the penultimate lap now, as Zach is on course for victory. Struggled to get the car turned into the first corner there. He's just got to look after his tyres between now and the checkered flag. And Shahid moving ahead of Statistic King into turn 1. And that's him up into what is now 4th position. Vince is trying to stay in touch with Robin. And Zach getting another penalty for chat limits, but that won't affect his finishing position. He's got a good lead, with one more lap still to go after this one. So Zach begins the final lap now. His son's Vintage will be going into second place. Swanshanks will be losing a position as well to Guys, who's making his way back through the field here actually on his first set of Super Softs. Sister King goes past Podge into 5th place. Swanshanks trying to remain in touch. Here's Zach on course for victory in the Prema. It's been an interesting race. He's about to finish in style here. So Zach entering the baseball stadium for the last time, the stadium section anyway, for the last time. You can see all the confetti being blown right up in the air. So Zach comes through the last couple of corners to win the feature race here in Mexico City. Zach does it. It's a victory for him. It's a victory for Prema. Excellent job from him. Vintage in the Dams is going to finish second behind him because Robin has not eked out enough of a margin. So Vintage crosses the line second with Robin third. Shahid will be 4th ahead of Statistic King, and Guys has just got up to 6th place actually, so very well done to him. Very, very good recovery. Swanshanks will fall behind Podge. Pimis should hold on to 9th ahead of Leppy. So Swanshanks will be on reverse grid pole for the sprint race. Winfield will be 11th ahead of Scouse Cookie, and Green Pies